Well, hello. I've turned it right down, haven't I? Well, hello. Ah, I'll wait for people to join me while I sip my coffee. Delicious coffees in my Tech Bandits mug. My God. You do not know how much I look forward to this. Not just because I get to talk to everyone, but because I get off the torture device, which drives me absolutely mad. I am doing something only my father would do right now. My father wouldn't stream live, but he would drink decaf coffee that's instant. That is something my father has always done, and I've always laughed at him. And you know what I just did? I just made myself a cup of instant decaf coffee. Hello, Layer Cake Dev and Mandy. How are you? Very good. I was just confessing to the fact that I'm drinking instant decaf coffee right now. And I've got to tell you, it's delicious. Probably just because it's something. So another frozen exercise day today. I'll let people pop in, and I should probably pop up the YouTube channel as well so we can see what's going on over there now that we're allowed to do that. Let's have a look at the old D. Hewlett. Where are you, D. Hewlett? Live, I say. There we go. Well, you can even hear me. Wonderful. That's good. All right, let's pop this out, see what's going on here. Pop out the chat. I'm trying to do this without my glasses on. This is always an interesting experiment in blindness. There we go. Boy, this whole getting old thing. Just, what if you just got better at things as you got older, instead of things just getting harder and you're worse at it? First time chat. How are you, Dragon Lair TV? My wife is questioning your choice in coffee. I'm questioning my choice in coffee. I think your wife is a far more culinarily intelligent soul than I am, for sure. I used to mock my father mercilessly for his instant decaf coffee. Worse than that, I got no-name instant decaf coffee. I was at Loblaws yesterday buying some food for the kid. They just eat. That's all they do is eat. And then leave stuff. They eat and then leave stuff behind, basically. That's how it seems to work. I'm sure I'm the same. I would blame ADD. Him, I just blame being a teenager. But maybe, yeah, I suppose there could be ADD there as well. Have to get that looked at. Anyways, so I'm doing this decaf thing. I'm trying to be better about the amount of caffeine I drink. Because I drink a freaking huge amount of caffeine, which apparently is not good for you. It's certainly not good for my anxiety. It seems weird to be being prescribed anxiety medications when I'm drinking 40 cups of coffee a day. So I thought, maybe we could skip some of those meds and just go for some little less caffeine in my day. So I'm trying that. We'll see how that goes. There are days that I consume vast amounts still, but I'm trying on a daily basis to be a little better about that. I should tell you that this is my Burn&Learn. This is my bit to stay alive and fit long enough to raise my amazing son and to enjoy the golden years with my brilliant, beautiful wife, Jane, and our ridiculously annoying dog, Huzzah, who could be anywhere right now, tearing up any portion of the backyard or the recycling. That dog, all of the dogs I've had up until now, I have been able to train. This one is a beast. This one is just... She who will not be tamed is what I should really call her, the Huzzah. We sort of named her after the show, what is it called? It was called The Great. There's one season left I haven't seen yet of it, so don't ruin it. But about Catherine the Great, there were these wonderful scenes where people would sort of throw glasses around and yell out, Huzzah! Especially that fabulous guy who plays the king. And so when my family was threatening to get us another dog, and I said no more dogs. I've had Mars, and Mars is my favorite dog, and I don't want any other dogs. And I was overruled. We got this dog. I threatened to call it Huzzah if we got a dog, and they thought that was the most ridiculous name for a dog. So I was like, okay, I'm going to stick to it. So they got the dog, and that's what we called it, Huzzah. I don't know what her name was before that. I'm going to try to read this without my glasses. Broken my bones. That's a good start. Good evening, David. New to the channel, huge fan of your work as McKay, and just found out that you stream, so dropped you a follow as soon as I found out. Well, thank you very much, Broken My Bones. You'll fit in very well here. I'm always falling over. It's something that the inner klutz in me. You'll be well well fitting in here. Jack Jasper says, nice, a multi-stream. Yeah, apparently you're allowed to do that now. Good that this is now officially allowed on Twitch. That's what I mean, Jack. I can't remember who told me I could do it. I can't remember who told, was it Baz who told me that? Someone said I could do it, so that's what I did, and it is kind of fun because you just get two different worlds here. Twitch is, I still feel like a better venue for the live stuff, but at the same time, the idea that everyone has YouTube in some way, shape, or form just seems to work really well. So that explains, for those of you who aren't familiar with this whole exercise, this is just a directly post exercise. I stagger off the torture device that is called an elliptical machine, having done this time 37 minutes, up in the numbers a bit here. I've done 2 days in a row today, so I'm going to take a break tomorrow because otherwise my knees and ankles and things will bother me, like the old man that I am. And so I'm just a horrible, sweaty mess for you on this. And I don't know why anyone's here to watch it. I'm shocked and delighted that people want to witness this, but it allows me to talk about the learn part of my burn and learn as well as the annoying exercise part. Exercise is just such a waste of time. It just feels like such an incredible waste of time. And I have to learn something while I'm doing it. So I've got this book, Memory and Madness, or Madness and Memory, I can't remember which way the other is, about the discovery of prions. And I was complaining a little bit yesterday because it felt a little bit like he was, rubbing it in the face of the people who had this stuff wrong. The basic premise, in a nutshell, this guy is looking into these horrible degenerative diseases of the brain that people thought were infections, or long infections as they called them, or slow infections, I can't remember. They had all sorts of wonderful ideas for how this could make sense in the existing infectious disease world. And this guy, Prusiner, comes along and says, wait a second, what if this is an infectious protein? And everyone's like, you're nuts, that you can't have light, you can't have something self-replicating without DNA or RNA. You're crazy, and you're just trying to make the world work to your data. And as it turns out, he was right. So he's found these things which he named prions. There's a whole debate. There was, oh my God, the drama over what to call it. He named it, and everyone thought he was naming it after himself, and yada, yada, yada. Scientists, there's a whole soap opera going on. Yesterday, I was complaining a bit because I felt that he was sort of lauding it over it was almost like I was likening it to when you've had a bad incident. You've almost got like a PTSD-like response to a terrible situation or an argument or in my case, some movies that I've done in the past. And you just want to just vent all of that out. It felt kind of a little venty last time. Well, that was just the vent before the storm, because as it turns out, we're now into full-on science again, and I'm getting wildly lost. But the premise that I get from this, which is another amazing kind of part of this, is that in order to prove that these things were infectious proteins, which don't normally happen, like how does a protein replicate itself? He stumbled upon this, well, not stumbled, but he's basically cornered this concept that potentially, where again everyone had thought there was no such thing, it had to be a virus if it was going to replicate like that, or a bacteria or something. The assumption was that you linked together all of those AGDTs and all that from a gene, and you created a string of proteins from that, it would fold one way. And that, yes, it could change the way it was folded after the fact if you have some chemical attached to it, like I think they were talking about a phosphor or something like that would attach to these existing shapes that the proteins have taken on. And that the shape is really the most important part of the way these things work. They're designed to fit into things and lock together and interact with different proteins and chemicals and such. So the idea that you spit out this series of what do they call it? I'm not sure what the parts are called, but I'm brain dead after my exercise. Anyway, so you get this little string of particles that then will fold into the right shape. And he's now saying, wait a second, what if they don't all fold the same way? What if sometimes they fold differently without a chemical agent attached? And what if that's what causes these diseases? And everyone's like, here we go again. So it's just a really neat process as he tries to narrow this down. What is the word I'm looking for? I'm struggling with my science words right now. It's a lack of lunch. and an abundance of exercise, I think, is the problem here. An anonymous gifter is gifting 1-tier sub. Oh, thank you very much, anonymous gifter. Well, Nabhab31 just got a tier 1 sub from the anonymous gifter. Well, that's very nice of you. Thank you very much. Can anyone tell what I'm guessing links? I'm guessing links. No, they're called, the proteins are made up of, is it amino acids? Is that what they're made of? Someone will know. Someone will tell me in a moment on the chat. There's always brilliant people here who know this stuff. I'm, of course, not a biochemist in any way. Was it a strand? So it was a strand. No. I'm saying, what is the strand made up of? It's made up of. There, James R. Gurney. Thank God you're here. I'm struggling with this stuff. Yes, proteins are made of amino acids. Oh my God, I got it right. Look at that. So James R. Gurney will know this much better. But yeah, and this is the book that was recommended by James as well. This book, and you're absolutely right, James. It's just fascinating. I love all the different angles of it. This is what I love about this community, mainly James. Also, that's the fact that there's always someone here who can figure this stuff out for me. There's always a nerd who knows something. It's fantastic, and it's usually James. But the idea though that he's broken two kind of dogmatic approaches to science in this study. That first of all, that a protein could be infectious, for want of a better word, or that could self-replicate, and also the fact that it could be caused by a protein that folds differently without a chemical added. Now, maybe that will change in the future. I haven't read the whole book yet. I'm about 3 hours left, I think, of this. A hype train for the Burn&Learn? Are you kidding me? That is nuts. Malventano, nerds represent. How are you, Malventano? Must catch up with you two at some point. Google says alpha helices. What? Is that what an alpha helix is? I don't even know what that is. This is far too complicated for me without a deep dive. I've just been doing the reading on my elliptical. That's it, and just kind of fascinated by the way this all comes together. And what I love about this book is that it's this really fun combination of, there's a bit of history, there's a lot of science, a lot of molecular biology kind of stuff, and virology, and a number of these different areas of research required to figure out what is causing these horrible degenerative diseases. It's also just peering into the mind of a scientist and how he's interacting with other scientists, and all of the bureaucracy and the drama that surrounds this stuff is just fascinating. Thank you, Mandy, for your 100 little robots. Hello, Shelley Bell. Hello, Richard, Lorenzo, Emperador. You've got a question today. Emperador is always great for questions. What have you got? I'm feeling very slow today, so I apologize if I'm not doing a good job of it here. What is the biggest fear you have that scientifically can be close or is coming true? That's a good question. I think I have two. I have two things that I think. I have two issues that I'm struggling with right now. One of them is the idea of AI and misinformation, because it is already very easy to put out absolute bullshit on the internet. And obviously, the volume of bullshit to legitimate research and science is thoroughly uneven. So obviously, if it takes you 30 seconds to post something that's not true and has no research, it could take 30 years to post something that's of any use. I mean, look at this book about the prion stuff. And in one tweet, someone could say something that will question these many, many years of proper, well-documented science. So I'm definitely worried about how do we start sifting through this stuff. We're going to need, I suppose we could look to AI to help that as well. But my biggest issue is the stuff I see it on the kids in the social media, the need to get people's attention very quickly, to get them outraged or shocked. Everything is now, this changes everything. You're not going to believe. Like, there's just all of these probably ChatGPT suggested titles for stuff. And I'm just worried that the amount of stuff that I've seen things and I've gone, wow, how cool is that? And I look, you only have to look one or two articles in and realize it's absolute nonsense. And I'm an idiot. So I fall for everything. So, and it's something that I learned I learned from my scientist friends who will not say something unless they know it's been validated scientifically. And I think that is a discipline that people outside of the direct scientific world, and probably some people in it as well, I'm sure they're just as bad in some cases as well, but outside of the areas of specialty, are willing to just throw stuff out there and not know whether it's true or not. And I'm sure, and I'm also terrified of just getting caught in it myself and reading a couple of things and thinking I understand it and thinking it makes sense, and I'm in a rush and off I send something that's not legit. I'm working on an email of Awesome Awesomeness right now, which is my weekly newsletter, and about some fun, cool science tech stuff that makes me excited. And I'm back in my mind, I'm always a little bit worried that I'm going to be throwing something out there that isn't true. So that's one aspect of it. But I think that is more of a how are we going to solve this, and I'm assuming we're going to have to use AI and machine learning models to figure that stuff out as well. There's going to need to be a way to validate the truth of stuff, because how do you have a democracy if you can't agree on basic truths? And I think that's what I'm worried about, the amount of just mass information that's out there. And I don't even mean just the political stuff. I mean anything. I mean this fascination with this pseudoscience crap. I mean, we're still talking about reptilian brain. Oh, the reptile brain. Yeah, that was disproven like decades ago. I just, and that's news to me. I learned that this week. The reptile brain is something I sort of assumed it as a concept. I didn't realize it was actually people actually physically believed there was a reptile brain that then had the rest of our brain built around it. And that we both came from fish. But there are fish that don't even have brains. I mean, they're fascinating things that float around without any senses, and yet somehow survived for millions of years. But because we come from the same branch, but reptiles have gone one way and we've gone the other. We weren't reptiles that turned into people, and our brain didn't. Anyway, the concept is very dated, certainly. And then the concern I have with this misinformation as well is when it comes to finances. What do we do when you start, and we're already doing it, using these machine learning models to automate the process of trading stocks or shorting stocks or, investigating companies, or even sending out information and press releases that relates to companies that we're invested in? I just feel like this is rife for disaster. I mean, AIs don't care don't care that a war in Ukraine could be used to make money, or that unrest in the Middle East could be used to create money somewhere. My fear is what happens if if these things are left unchecked, or that people without any kind of empathy towards our population and our planet start using these technologies to undermine the world in order to make money, short-term games and that kind of stuff. And of course, unfortunately, we have people who are already willing to do that. There are humans already more than willing to do that, as we know. Even in our own lives, we could be contributing much less to the destruction of our planet, but we all have reasons why we can't. So it's just those are the two things. So just in a nutshell, a short answer would be AI misinformation and AI misinformation / financial AI would be the two things that I'm most worried about. I don't worry about it in a war situation. In fact, I would almost trust an AI assassin over a human assassin at this point. I think the reality is that if we are going to accept assassination as a form of warfare now, or even terrorism for want of a better word. I mean, terrorism is defined by whoever it's being done against, basically, isn't it? I mean, America were terrorists to England when we were splitting from there. I think we have to understand that technology is making everything cheaper and more effective. Maybe not cheaper, but certainly more effective at things like pattern recognition. And if pattern recognition is finding the right face that you want to get rid of because they're responsible for hideous crimes wherever, and the world has accepted that is the way we're going to approach things, then for a long time there was this feeling that assassination was somehow what's a good word for it? Was unfair, was unseemly, was wrong and evil, that you just didn't do that kind of thing. And yet it was okay for entire battalions of tanks and for full-on war. Full-on war was somehow more respectable than just taking out. If you've got a problem that can be taken out with a couple of people, I'm sorry, but I think we should take those couple of people out. I don't think we should be putting any more lives in danger than we have to, and that includes the people surrounding the innocent people, or the partially innocent people surrounding the people you're after, or even the people who are going into these dangerous situations to take these sort of bad actors out. And I think it seems strange to me that we're still fighting wars in a traditional warfare way when it's been shown to us historically, decade after decade, that that so much damage can be caused with basically off the shelf stuff. I mean, Ukraine's a perfect example. I mean, that is a drone war. That is a drone war being conducted by massively expensive Russian drone attacks on innocent people, and then these little rebel DJI drones dropping hand grenades. I mean, it's just, it seems ridiculous to me that we're spending billions of dollars on these advanced weapon systems when the most basic weapon systems can be used to do so much more damage and really sway the tide of war as it is anyways. How did I get... Where did I go today? What happened there? War is pointless, Stranger Ella. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting point, though. Is war pointless? I think you have to stop if people are willing to. If I don't think you just sit by and watch yourself get invaded. So I feel like is war justified then? Again, what if there was a way to do it? To protect yourself without having to actually kill people. And I suppose that was the hope with cyber war. That, of course, is being used both ways as well. I just feel like if a regime is the problem, or a person is the problem for your country, and again, this is a horrible thing to say because I know it's coming back. Like I'm of course thinking about all the people who are enemies to Canada and England and America, my three countries of passport. And of course, I know that there are going to be, in some cases, justified feelings the other way from other places around the world. And this is the madness of it all. I don't know how you solve it. Anyways, war is a continuation of politics by other means. Yeah, Damien. I mean, yes. I guess my question is war. What does war need to be? You know what I mean? You're Canadian, aren't you? We never thought you were a terrorist, just the Southerners. I am Canadian, British, and American. So I became an American soon after Stargate, but I was born in England, raised in Canada, and then moved to the States. And now I'm back in Canada for a bit. So we'll see. And then I'll probably end up in England again. So we can't escape it completely. No, but I'm wondering can we escape large-scale war? You know what I mean? Like, can we escape these poor kids without other options in their lives, being handed weapons and sent out like fodder into this stuff? I don't understand. I mean, I was sort of heartened to see that, and I don't know if this is true or not, but what I heard that the first thing to go into any of these Hamas tunnels was a robot. And I think that's the only way to deal with that kind of stuff. I just don't. Why on earth would you put humans in a situation where there's such a obviously dangerous situation? I apply the same thing to mining. I would apply the same thing to space travel. I don't think we should be sending these bags of flesh out into space, especially this bag of flesh. It just doesn't make any sense with the amount of resources it needs, how unreliable we are, the food supplies we need. I mean, it just makes sense to do everything with robots and let's see things remotely. I mean, first-person view drones on Mars, that'd be wicked. And then it also opens it up to a lot more people, right? Then it's not just billionaires who get to look out the window and see the Earth. We could have mining jobs on Mars because we've got some kind of a fantastic quantum connection, some kind of a quantum communication system that allows us to operate drones on a distant planet or something. What do we got? This. Lair TV. This. Gotta send Malps. Exactly. I'm a big Malp fan. Always have been. Of course not. I think war is an ego problem between leaders. Let them fight and leave the people who don't want to fight alone. Yeah, but we vote them in, Charlotte Spas, right? Or well, we do. Maybe other people don't. And who knows? I mean, I also, what do they say? Democracy is the worst form of government, but it's better than all the other ones. Yay, finally caught a live well. Good. Doomsayers finally made it. Jake Milne, could the Large Hadron Collider destroy Earth? It seems unlikely to me, but, I think we are getting to a point where we don't know who is real and who is not. In fact, I could be an AI and no one would know it. Agreed, Imperador. I mean, the reality is the AI has already passed the Turing test. I mean, you could have a conversation with AI that would be indistinguishable from a conversation with someone you maybe don't know. And I think it could I think you could very easily be fooled by AI at this point. And I think we're going to need to have, they're going to need to be like, I mean, no one will obey them, but there should be rules that say, if this is created by AI, that should say that it's being created by AI. Now I think about it, I suppose when I do my email of awesomeness, I often include a bunch of Mid-Journey images, and I just have so much fun doing that. I mean, I don't have that kind of artistic skill. I'm going to be talking to Lance this afternoon, actually, about another project, which I invite you to tune in on, because I think this could be a really fun discussion that uses AI and robotics. And I'm doing that this afternoon, so I'm going to probably, I won't talk too long today, because I'm going to be back online again probably around 3 o'clock, like around 3 o'clock today, I'm hoping, if Lance is available. I'm hoping he's available. And we'll do some chatting for the Damn Dirty Abe podcast, as we call it, because I am the Abe. I'm the able body. He is not. And apparently Abes are the problem. That's what he seems to think anyways. He's not entirely wrong. So it's not thinking it's just a super advanced parrot. A super advanced parrot. Yes, I guess so. It's an interesting way of putting it, I suppose. It seems like a good Monty Python sketch. The thing I've discovered with AI, certainly from the art standpoint, from the AI Mid-Journeys and DALL-E 3s and all the rest of it, or DALL-E, whatever number they're up to now, instead of worrying about the copyright side of stuff, it got me thinking about what is the nature of creation. I mean artistic creation. Where does your art come from? And I would argue that your art comes from all of the art and things you've read and people you've met, experiences you've had, that it's a mix of, all we do is steal. All we do is derivative work. It's all derivative of whatever is in our mind, and whatever, whether we're inspired by a painting that we don't remember seeing many years ago, or a script that we don't remember seeing a film of many years ago. I think everything is a mix of things, and that's what AI does. And I think that's what alarms artists so much, and less so nerds like me. It's the weirdest thing, and people are always laughing at me because I seem to constantly be trying to put myself out of work. But the reality is, if AI is capable of doing what we can do in the form of writing or art, poetry, any of these things, then I'm afraid we've got to figure out how to use it and go take our art somewhere else and work the art in a way that allows that human connection. There will be, I am sure, much more value to hand-painted art or handwritten art, perhaps, or live art. There will be more of a value to that because there's so much out there that will just be generated. And I think there's already a kind of a craving for the unique. I mean, people want that. They want something that's only that is collectible, and you see this with trying to collect cards, or like trading cards or cars, or I was actually thinking the other day, I saw a rather battered version of an old, what were they called? The old manuals. What was the company? O'Reilly, an old O'Reilly Perl programming. I had this Perl programming book that was I ended up buying it 3 times because I wore the book out so many times learning how to do Perl programming. And it just started falling apart. And I saw an old copy of it by the road the other day for garbage day on my geek trash route. And I was gonna take it, but it was such a mess. And then I suddenly went, oh God, you know what I want to collect? All the old Riley books, get all of the old computer science O'Reilly books that had those wonderful black and white images of things on it. Anyways, the point being is, I think we crave something unique, something that only we can have, or only a few of us can have, and that is only going to get stronger in a world where things can be created so quickly. So I think there is a place for artists and for art, but I worry. I mean, I think the graphic artist side of stuff and the for-hire freelance people are going to have to get good at AI, because I think people are going to expect their stuff very quickly, and they're going to expect it to be exactly what they want in that time as well. So I think once again we're pushing the amount of money you can get paid for stuff is going to be reduced. I mean, perfect example would be with writing, where it used to be that you would be paid. Let me use a different example. Let me use editing. So editing, either in writing or even in video, for that matter, used to be you had to sit down, you had to work through all the material, you had to look up all the different things, you had to make your notes, make your changes, send the different cuts of either the drafts of the writing or the edits of the video back and forth to people. And that took time, and you got paid by the day for that. So it could be, for a little 5-minute project, it could be 2 weeks work. Well, now it's like 2 hours. So I think you're going to, instead of earning 2 weeks salary, you're now earning 2 hours salary, or maybe 2 days. But either way, it is easily a 10 times reduction in the amount of time you have to do things, and thus the amount of money you're going to get paid for it. I think that's where it's really going to hurt people. And it's going to hurt the people who haven't picked up the pace on this by using these technologies to their advantage. So does that make sense? What do we got? Art is a form of self-expression. People will always want to physically get their thoughts down on paper, or the exact image in their heads on a canvas. There will always be a personal touch to it that AI may not ever nail completely. I don't know, Lethargic Galago. I think it will nail it, but what is nailing it? You know what I mean? Like I think that, as you say, what's going to, in a way, work for people is the imperfections of the human, rather than the perfection of the AI. I think that's where it's going to be. You're going to pay more for it to be not perfect, or it to be uniquely humanly perfect. Maybe there's a thumbprint or a handprint or something that becomes a part of people's artwork, or even like an organic. I mean, wow, that'd be interesting. Well, it's got a DNA in it or something to prove that this is a one-off and unique work of art. I'm sort of fascinated where it's going to go with that. So, all right, I've babbled on way longer than I was supposed to. So I should wrap up. I'm going to wrap up, but that said, join me back here in about an hour. I'm going to go have a shower, eat some lunch, and hopefully make sense more than I do already to talk to the fabulous Lance Gimpy G. Carr, and we're going to do ourselves a Damn Dirty Abe's podcast, which I'm really looking forward to. Thank you all very, 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 very much for joining me. Fascinating discussion. Thank you to Emperador, as always, for being the great question oracle. And I look forward to chatting with you all again. I don't think I will be doing, unless I'm thoroughly inspired for some reason, I don't think I will be doing a Burn and Learn tomorrow. I'm going to take tomorrow off. I've done 2 days in a row. I feel it. And tomorrow's my last day with my son alone before the wonderful Jane returns from her London travels. And then I guess we're digging in for Christmas. Oh my God, I can't believe we're there already. How miserable is that? Bon humbugs. All right. Be safe, be kind, be brilliant until we geek again, which will be at around 3 o'clock. Cheerio.